Coming up next, my 3 favorite under the radar, hidden gem, underappreciated fragrances. Find out what they are coming up next. Welcome back everybody to JoelTheNose and another video hopefully that you guys will enjoy, because that's why I make these videos, is to not only for enjoyment but for education, to introduce you to things that maybe you haven't seen before. I try to bring a fresh perspective based on my experience. So here we go. My top 3 fragrances, these are all in my personal collection, that I think are hidden gems, underappreciated, don't get enough love, but are wonderful, wonderful fragrances. And I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1. Let's go right in. Let's see, I gotta have my list here. All right, first, and this is one of my oldest fragrances that I've had for, I don't know, as far as niche fragrances, probably for about 5 years now. This is from Montblanc, Oud Forest. Oud Forest. Wow, this is one, I gotta admit, I bought this again. This was the very first oud fragrance I ever got. After I started getting into niche fragrances and I started smelling oud for the first time, and I gotta admit, you know, when I first really smelled that heavy oud, I was a little bit, ooh, you know, kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies, that little skankiness. So this is a fragrance that I jumped right in. You know, some people get into oud through things like Oud for Greatness or other fragrances like that where they have oud in there, but you don't really smell it. It's more in there as a mixture to help bring out really the other notes and to really amplify the other notes. This is an oud fragrance. It's not on the super stinky end. It's not on the minimal end. This is square in the middle, in my opinion, as far as oud. And it was my very first one, so it was a little challenging. And I have to admit, really for a couple of years, I didn't wear it a lot because it was too challenging for me, because I just jumped kind of right headfirst into the deep end of the pool with this. But boy, do I love it. And if you like oud, this is a very unique oud fragrance. It starts out with this very lemony, grapefruit, citrusy effect, which I love. So this is, it's fresh. There's a sea note component to it. So it's very, kind of reminds me of being near the sea here in Miami. Obviously, I love that because I live very close to the ocean. But it's very fresh. It's very inviting. It's very almost fizzy, but underlying it right from the beginning is that oud, and you can smell it there. But again, it's not stinky, but it's not mild. This is a really woody oud. I think what they've done here is combined used an oud that really, I think, is kind of that helping people get to that next level. This is in that next level oud. Of course, the famous Montblanc bottles, that cylinder, metal cylinder. There's also some rose in here that gives it a little bit of a sweetness, and the dry down is really good. I get about 7 to 8 hours on my skin, and there's a nice ambergris musk dry down, which helps it give it a very neutral, good, gender neutral, unisex fragrance. I think it's, I don't know, about $180. Montblanc's usually retail for 100 milliliters. So there you go, my number 3 most underappreciated fragrance that is a hidden gem that I think you really need to try out, and I love, and I wear a lot now, Oud Forest. Let's go to number 2. What's number 2 on my list? Here it is, okay. This is another one that I bought a few years ago. It is Tigre du Bengal from Montblanc Parfums. Tigre du Bengal. You can see I'm getting about halfway through this 30 ml bottle. Let me see, is this an extrait or a parfum? Oh, this, yeah, I thought so. It's an extrait. So this is an extrait parfum, super concentrated. This is one, if you like that kind of creation-y, enigma, kind of Roja Dove, Coca-Cola feel, this is a fragrance you need to check out. But this is an extrait, again, version. It's very long lasting. I mean, the other day I wore it. I put it on as my second fragrance of the day. As I've told you guys, I usually wear 2 fragrances. One I put on in the morning, and then one I put on early evening. I put this on probably around 5 o'clock in the evening, somewhere in there. When I woke up the next morning, I could still smell this thing kicking on my neck. Showed this very long lasting fragrance. But it is, again, it opens up with this kind of fizzy Coca-Cola smell, which I love. That's not for everybody. I tend to really like that. I love Creation E. Look at the juice. Just look at the color. It's wonderful. But it's nice because it's got this kind of spicy opening also with that Coca-Cola. It's got cardamom, it's got juniper, it's got labdamen, it's got myrrh. So this is very kind of resinous and sensual and sexy. And then basically, again, it dries down into this kind of sexy, there's a castoreum note, which gives it that animalic flavor or animalic smell with some tobacco. Really, you know, the notes that they show listed are relatively simple, but this is a very unique, complex perfume. When you smell it on your skin, when you smell it, I love that Coca-Cola smell. This is unique. I wore it the other day for the first time in a couple months and got a ton of compliments. When I say a ton, I got a couple compliments, 2 to be exact. But, you know, I've talked about this before. Compliments are a random thing. A lot of times you may wear your best fragrance and no one says anything that you usually get compliments on. Some days you do get compliments on things you wouldn't expect, but I did get compliments at a restaurant and I really like this one. So this is my number 2 most underappreciated, under the radar fragrance that I think people need to be talking about more and need to get your nose on. That leads me to my number 1 fragrance, and let me pull up the list here. Okay. And this is from Mark Buxton, the kind of avant-garde perfumer, really takes a lot of chances. This is his own line. He does a lot of perfumes for major companies. This was his own brand, Mark Buxton, and it is Devil in Disguise. Devil in Disguise, oof. You know, the bottle, I like the shape of the bottle. It's simple. It's, you know, nothing extravagant here. I like that. He keeps it minimalistic. This is, if you love ginger, this is my favorite ginger fragrance. Bar none, hands down, that I've smelled. It is so intense. It screams off your skin. It invites you into like this almost other world of energy. It packs energy. You know those perfumes that just pack a punch? This perfume packs a punch, lasts all day. I don't know whether you can get it anymore. I got this years ago at Osme. It was discontinued. I think in the States, maybe it's still available. But you know, check out Mark Buxton, maybe his website. But again, really unique. This ginger note opens with this rhubarb, which gives it a little bit of sweetness to the ginger, almost like a ginger ale, you know, a ginger ale soda, which I happen to like. I don't drink it that much, but it's something I really enjoy. And then you have this kind of these white flowery notes in the middle with neroli, magnolia, and then the dry down goes into this musk, patchouli, vetiver. I love vetiver. I've talked a lot about that before. Vetiver to me is one of my favorite fragrance notes. It just grounds a fragrance. And when you combine that vetiver here and that patchouli, which is very earthy, with that ginger and that rhubarb, this is just an earthy powerhouse fragrance. Really grounding, something when you just want to kind of chill. But this is what I love about this fragrance. It's both grounding, but again, it packs that punch, that energy. It's like bound up energy in this fragrance. And it's just, I don't know, I love it. I don't see anyone talking about this. I don't see anyone really talking about Mark Buxton perfumes. As a perfumer, I think he's brilliant and someone I look up to in the perfume world. But Devil in Disguise, had this now for a few years. I really treasure it. Take a look at that juice, how golden, kind of almost, again, it looks like ginger ale. You know, it looks like ginger ale in a perfume bottle. So there you have it, my 3 favorite under the radar, not talked about enough hidden gem fragrances that I think you guys would love and you really need to get your nose on. Try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Has anyone tried these? Does anyone own these? Let me know your thoughts. I'll be back soon with another video. Thank you guys as always. Peace, love, and perfume.